The Durian Heat, bringing big ideas and critical opinions in Southeast Asia.
Hi, welcome back to Triana ASEAN. You're with Grace.
And this is Arlene.
And of course, we have been speaking with Jagan Fu, who is the country manager of Malaysia of Grab. So the first segment, we shared the establishment of Grab, as well as how it has started and solved the problems that we had in Malaysia especially. But let's go further our conversation here. So not only in Malaysia, but throughout the Southeast Asia, this particular app is very popular. And how this company has expanded since then? Could you elaborate us more?
Sure. So we started sometime in we started I think in mid June, 2013 in Malaysia, and then we expanded to Philippines, and after Philippines, Singapore, and then Thailand, and then Vietnam, and then eventually our last country will be Indonesia. So as of today, we are in 6 countries, 28 cities. I think our strategy is always localization. What works for the country? For example, in Indonesia, the jam is terrible.
I think throughout Southeast Asia, the jams are terrible.
Relatively compared to Malaysia and Singapore. So in Indonesia, people take bikes because they don't want to get stuck in a jam. So when I was in Indonesia, we tend to have back-to-back meetings, and when I trigger up the Waze, right, I know I'll be late for meetings, so I'll end up taking Grab bike to my meeting areas. In Indonesia, will be that, and then in Thailand also we have Grab Express, where we deliver parcels for people.
It's like DHL, but a local version
version of DHL. It's more of like how do I call it? It's more of like a dispatch service. Like for example, like Durian ASEAN, for example, has some parcels you want to send to somewhere else. You just book a Grab Express, and then it will come and pick up and then send to your destination.
So convenient.
Yeah.
When you want to capture the market in different countries, especially the country is unlike Malaysia at all, how is the process from research and getting to know the locals and identifying the problems and eventually creating solution for it?
I think firstly, we need to understand the customers. That's where if you see my name card, right, one of our principles would be to outserve our customers. So we need to understand them better. I give you an example. Like in Indonesia has this culture of I call it gengsi. Gengsi means like I want to outdo you in everything. Like for example, it's more classy for you to turn up to a meeting in a black car, for example.
Oh, right.
Than a taxi.
Oh.
So when someone asks you who dropped you, my driver.
I see.
Then it's a status thing.
So
also the image, right?
It's like Kiasu, but Indonesian version.
And in Singapore, for example, the car ownership there is pretty low, so they don't care whether is it Grab car or taxis.
That's true.
They are okay. So in Singapore, the insight is this: like people tend, like you see, there's still a lot of queues in Singapore. People tend to queue for taxis because they don't want to pay that booking fee. Because we laugh at situations like this because we take, to be very honest, right, Malaysians, we don't take cabs as much as Singaporeans. Like you take maybe twice or 3 times a week max, let's say. So you pay a booking fee, like cabs, you pay 2 ringgit booking fee, right? But in Singapore, you take 2 times a day. 2 times a day times 30 is already
quite a lot.
So that's where we need to understand the local scene much better to enter the space, because there's no point trying to cookie cut a strategy that works in one country throughout the region, because every country is unique, and we just need to work around those requirements.
It's very interesting to know. Even though we are all in the Southeast Asia region, they have the different problems and the systems they're holding there. But coming back to Malaysia again, Grab has changed the logo, the image. You rebranded it. Could you tell us the story behind it? And some of us are still a bit confused because under Grab, there's so many categories.
Yeah,
so
there's
maybe
Grab car, there's Grab taxi.
exactly. So could you enlighten us on that?
Sure. I think so. Let's. So I'll break down the answer into two parts.
Sure.
In terms of branding, we see our rebranding exercise as a milestone as the largest taxi app provider in Southeast Asia, meaning we are the biggest. We are the number one player. And the Grab as that milestone, right? We want to celebrate freedom. So freedom for someone to travel anywhere they want, freedom to do whatever they want. Like for example, like what we always strive is to, I always ask my team members this, like when you run this business, run it well, because the KPI is not about being the biggest. The KPI is not being the best. The KPI here is, are you willing to put your mother, your sister, or your daughter into the cab?
Right.
I think that is most important. If you can relate to that, right, then you'll push the boundaries further.
So it's trying to create that human experience for the customer.
Yes.
So at the end of the day.
And safety is very important to us, because if you can educate customers that taking a private car, taking cabs is safe, then everyone will ditch their cars. They'll change their behavior. Like myself, for example, I stay in Bangsa. I don't drive to work anymore. I only drive over the weekends. Like I only see my mom. I'll drive to Subang to see my mom, and that's about it. If I were to go to Bangsa village, I'll just take Grab. I'll take Grab. What?
But you say safety is a very important feature, especially in Southeast Asia, where, you know, when it comes to women, the danger is always there on the street, on the road. So how do you ensure there's proper security for the Grab drivers as well as the Grab customers?
Okay, so one interesting fact that I would like to share would be 70% of our ridership are females. Based on a survey that we did a few months ago. Okay, that's one. That is a testament to our safety standard, where we vet our drivers. So before you come into our platform, we don't do online. We want to see your face, and on top of that, we want to see your car. Like how clean is it? Because by talking to the person, you'll know them better, and you can sense whether the guy is good or bad.
So basically, you also do the background check.
Check. So that's number one. We meet them, we interview them, ask a few questions, train them, and then they need to answer some ethic questions, like what do you do when this scenario happens? What do you when this scenario happens? So we have all this, and in order, after they've passed that test, then we'll do a background check on them. So it's a very thorough process. We invest heavily on safety, and recently we just piloted a program on having in-car cameras. In-car cameras in our Grab cars. So we definitely want to push the boundaries on safety in Malaysia and also across the region.
So that means each Grab cars will have the cameras inside.
Eventually, so we are piloting out with about, I think, 50 cars, 100 cars.
100 cars in KL first. Oh, right. So then from there, it works as a CCTV.
Yes.
Inside the Grab car. Well, talking about, let's go deeper in the categories. Like Ali mentioned before, there are My Taxi inside, the Grab car, and then so many other categories. Could you just briefly explain that to us?
Okay, so when a new user goes into either a Play Store or Apple Store, they would then download the Grab app. So the Grab app is previously known as the My Taxi app.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, inside that app, you'll have a few categories. The first category would be our pioneer, would be budget taxis.
Budget taxi, yeah.
And then followed by GrabCar, which is our fastest growing product. Followed by Taxims. So Taxims are the gold color MPVs that's currently on the road. And also the blue taxis, executive taxis.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, GrabCar Premium, which are the more the 2.0 cars and above. So we have a suite of products that we have in our app, which caters to different types of customers. Let me give you an example.
Sure.
So, if I want to go to the airport, I would tend to do advance booking. Then I will book a Grab taxi, a My Taxi, the budget taxi, the red taxis. Let's say I got a flight tomorrow at 7 a.m.
Right.
So I'll get I'll do an advance booking at 5 to pick me up in my apartment. So what we do behind the scene is 1 hour before the pickup, we will wake the driver up at 4 a.m. Dear driver, please wake up. Okay, please wake up. You got to pick up at 5 a.m. And then 10 minutes before the pickup time, we would call the driver again. Hey driver, are you within vicinity of the passenger? That's check number 1. Check number 2 is we check the location of the driver. If he or she is far away from the passenger, we would then cancel that booking and then allocate that booking to the nearest taxi driver within that area.
All right.
And then 10 minutes later, we would then call the passenger. Hey Mr. Passenger, or hey Miss Passenger, are you in the car already? So there is 3 checks that we invest heavily on, so that the passengers don't miss their flight. Because I think one of the worst experience for a passenger is to miss their flight.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely. I think each one of us probably has one time in our lives where we miss a flight.
That's very
Yeah.
true. And
Yes.
the one mistake, they will never take it again.
Yes,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
So
You have so many very interesting products and services. I'm wondering if Grab would want to expand more, or in the future you have anything in the pipeline in terms of adding unique services. For example, in some countries, for example, Indonesia and Thailand, they tend to go around with motorcycles, probably expanding services to not just cars and taxis, but also motorcycles.
honestly speaking, we would love to have all products in all our countries. But like I mentioned earlier, right, it needs to have the product market fit. Like if I were to ask, myself, for example, am I confident in taking bikes in Malaysia? Yes, because I know how to ride a bike. But if you were to ask the vast majority of them, it may be a problem, because we don't have a bike culture. Like in Indonesia and Thailand, for example, before the app came in, there's a bike culture already. So in Indonesia, it's called Ojek. In Thailand, it's called I don't know.
remember as well.
Yeah. So there's this like in Thailand, I think every biker would wait in a soy or something like that,
Oh, right.
and you just go to that person and say, hey, I want to go to soy 11 or something, and then then you hop on the bike and then go. They'll wear orange vest, right? So there's existing players already. So the app make it more efficient. But for in Malaysia in particular, we need to change the behavior of the customers. So we need to. So the question now is, we need to understand like I mentioned earlier, we need to understand our customers, whether they are ready for that. If they are not ready for that, then I rather invest that resource in our existing product to make it better, like how we are pushing the safety standards, for example.
This is our second segment of the Durian Heat. Stay tuned with us. We'll continue our conversation with Jagan.
You're now listening to Durian ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.